Hey up guys, so today on the channel I'm doing something slightly different. Often when I'm discussing the Oscars, I like to talk about my fantasy picks. We all have them, we all have our own taste, we all want to see particular people get nominated of certain films, and often I will say, oh, this person is a fantasy pick, I want to see them get nominated. And sometimes the Academy pick them, sometimes they don't, but end of the day, we've all got our own personal preferences as to who we want picked. So I thought for fun today, I would give you my fantasy picks for the 2022 Oscars. But not only that, I brought a very special guest along with me for the first time on the channel. It's a long time coming, this collaboration. I'd like everyone to give a lovely warm introduction to Denis Buckely. Hi mate, how you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. We've been trying to organize this for a while, haven't we? Yeah, like
This is long overdue.
yeah.
It's over a year, I think.
Yeah, we've been talking for a while, but we've just been struggling to find a time where, or a particular video that we can collaborate on.
Yeah, but we're here, we're doing this.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you here, mate. So, so let me explain to our viewers at home how it's going to work. We're going to go through the 8 big categories because we can't do all 23 because we'd be here forever. And we're going to list our 5, or in the case of Best Picture, 10 fantasy picks, the people that we want to see nominated in each category. So yeah, Denis and I don't know who we've both picked. This is just going to be a surprise. It'll be interesting to see where we overlap, where we match, where we differ. It'll be interesting to see who we both have in our fantasy picks. And also for you guys at home, please do get involved in the comments. We want to hear your fantasy picks for this year's Oscars. It doesn't matter how crazy or outlandish it is, let us know in the comment section below. Also give the video a like, and I popped all of Denis's information in the video description down below. His link to his channel, please subscribe to him. Also, he's got all the social media links there as well, so yes, please do support him. He's absolutely fabulous. All right, mate, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Cool. All right, let's get cracking, mate. So, I thought we'd kick things off with Best Supporting Actress. Now,
All right.
You want to go first for this one?
Okay.
Here are your 5 fantasy picks, mate, for Best Supporting Actress at the 2022 Oscars.
Okay, so for Best Supporting Actress, number 5, I have this in ranking. Number 5, I know this isn't a popular choice for most people, but I actually have Kirsten Dunst in The Power of the Dog. I love her. It's a very internalized performance. It's not that obvious. That's why I understand why people don't choose her in a personal lineup, but I have her at number 5. Number 4, I have, and this is also a wishful thinking that she could get in at the top 5 nominations. It's Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter. I love everything that she did. She did not just portray a younger Leda, the character of Olivia Colman, but I feel like she also studied Olivia Colman as a person. Like, she really got the mannerisms, the tics, everything. She nailed that character to perfection. Number 3, I have Ariana DeBose. I just recently watched West Side Story. I really wasn't blown away as much as I was expecting to, but I still love Ariana DeBose. It really was a powerhouse performance. Like, everything. Like, she could sing, she could dance, she could act, she could nail the emotional scenes. Like, what else could you ask for? It's a performer's piece, I feel like, what she did in West Side Story. Plus, big shoes to fill. Like, it's a former Oscar winner's role. Like, it's almost very daunting to fill in the shoes of Rita Moreno, but she did it, like, flawlessly. Number 2, I have Ruth Negga for Passing. I really love Ruth Negga in Passing. It's a very understated performance, and it's all about her eyes. It's a very haunting, spellbinding performance that I really... she was the best part of the movie, easily. And I am happy now that she's a lock, I feel like. Like, there's no way she's missing, right? Like, Ruth Negga is already a lock, so I'm happy to have her at my number 2. Number 1, this is definitely a no-brainer for me. It's Ann Dowd.
Yes! I was keeping my fingers crossed there. Yes, go on.
It's almost a shame that she's not sweeping. A performance like this is very sweep material. Like, she should be sweeping the critics, the guilds. And yeah, it's just a shame that the reason why she's not getting everything is because of the lack of a campaign. That's it. It's not because she's not the best, because she really is the best supporting performance by an actress of the year. So yeah, I have Ann Dowd as my number one and my dream win for this category.
I mean, that just makes me happy. Yeah, I agree, mate. She's also in my 5. She'd also be my predicted winner for this category as well. But before I give an impassioned Endowed speech, let me give you my 5 for Best Supporting Actress. So we have a little bit of overlap, not too much, but a little. So for my 5 fantasy picks, Best Supporting Actress, I've got Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Ann Dowd for Mass, Riley Keough from Zola, Martha Plimpton from Mass as well, and Sania Sidney for King Richard. Yeah, a couple honorable mentions like Ingenue Ellis, King Richard, Olga Merediz from In the Heights. Absolutely love them. But yeah, those are the 5 I ended up settling on because I kind of wanted to champion some names which haven't been getting as much love this award season. I mean, Ariana DeBose, she absolutely deserves to be in the Best Supporting Actress, and I think she probably will win it, the actual Oscar. And that's absolutely fine. It's justified, like you said. How do you follow in Rita Moreno's footsteps and make the role your own? She absolutely smashed it out of the park. Just incredible job from her. But yes, my personal pick as well is Ann Dowd. Like, her not being the sweeper this year, it's maths I don't understand. Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like, everybody who watches Mass loves it, and everyone's like singing Ann Dowd's praises. Like you said, it's just a lack of funding for a proper campaign. Yeah, Ann Dowd is my obviously clear winner, but I couldn't not include Martha Plimpton as well because her performance in it is just equally as devastating, as raw, as human. It's just, yeah, it's so, they're both absolutely amazing in it. The reason Ann Dowd takes the cake for me is just that speech she gets right at the end of the movie, the story she tells. It just, God, it punched me in the heart. Yeah, I was like, God, she's such a talented actress, Ann Dowd. But yeah, same to Martha Plimpton as well. I just really loved Sania Sidney in King Richard as well. I know Ingenue Ellis, I think she is, I don't think she's a lock for Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, sorry, but I think she has a pretty good chance. But Sania Sidney, I just really loved how she captured the grace and mental fortitude of Venus Williams in it. In fact, both the sisters were great in it. But yeah, obviously she gets a little bit more to work with. And I don't know, I just thought she was the MVP of King Richard for me. So yeah, that's why I have her there. And Riley Keough as well. I just really love Zola. And it's not the only mention Zola's going to get in these fantasy picks here. But yeah, I love what Riley Keough did with Zola because she's playing a character that's kind of detestable, but she does it so well. Like, she's a white girl, like, who thinks she's black, and it's a really, like, uncomfortable type of, like, personality to portray, but she's so committed to it. Like, I completely bought it. I thought she was just sensational in it.
I love the Riley Keough inclusion. She's in my top 10 for sure.
That was great, mate. So, and we already know, we both agree on Ann Dowd winning this. What about you guys at home? Who is your pick for Best Supporting Actress? Who's your fantasy pick for this? All right, mate. So shall we move on to Best Supporting Actor?
Best Supporting Actor. I had a really hard time narrowing number 5 because there's just too much choices. But
yeah,
I have decided to go for, well, before I go with my actual 5, I just want to give a shout out to Mike Feist for West Side Story and Daniel Durant for Coda. If there are any duos that should have been sweeping the nominations, it should have been Mike Feist and David Alvarez for West Side Story, and Troy Kotsur and Daniel Durant for Coda. Not about
100% agree with you.
In my opinion. So I just want to give him a shout out. My number 5 is Vincent Landon for Titan. I'm not really the biggest fan of Titan, but the performances just really, like, they speak for themselves. Like, Vincent Landon is one of the best part of the movie. When everything goes crazy, he has the central energy that keeps things, like, he's the reason of that movie. Like, he is the rationale. When everything doesn't make sense almost, he gives a reason for us to be with him in the journey, in the story. Number 4, I have Cody Smith McPhee in The Power of the Dog. Yeah, I really love what he did with the character. It was very unexpected. At first, I was like, oh, of course this is a coming-of-age, teeny character, but I probably shouldn't spoil it for people who haven't seen the movie yet, but yeah, it is a very edgy kind of coming-of-age performance, and I really loved what he did with an LGBTQ character, because most of the time, like, an LGBTQ character of this age bracket is often profiled as probably soft or weak, but he had some power in that film, and I really, really appreciated that. 3 to 1, they're really close. Number 3, I have Jason Isaacs for Mass. Just like Dowd, it's very strange that he isn't sweeping,
Preach.
even just for a nomination. And the fact that he didn't even make it to the BAFTA long list is beyond.
I know.
It's just beyond. So it's just
travesty.
a shame. Yeah, it's truly one of the best performances of the year by far, Jason Isaacs. Number 2, this is a personal choice. I feel like, obviously we're doing personal choices here, but number 2, it's just, it really sits well in my heart. It's Troy Kotsur for Coda.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, it's very rare for comedy performances to get this kind of recognition, especially in supporting actor. Number 2, it's very rare to see comedy done by a deaf actor, and I feel like comedy is really hard. You need verbal language. You need to speak for you to be able to deliver comedy. But he did that through ASL, and that is something I've never seen before. And he is the best part of Coda for me, 100%. So number 1 obviously is Jared Leto. I'm kidding.
Oh my god!
I'm kidding.
I was about to let my jaw hit the floor there.
No way.
I'm hanging up right now. No.
This is done. Okay. Well, my number 1, I'm actually really glad that I'm not alone in this one, because he is getting so much little buzz that I almost feel like, am I the only one loving this performance? But it is Anders Danielson Lai.
Yes.
Lai. Anders Danielson Lai for the worst person in the world. It is the best performance of the year by a supporting actor. And it's a very tricky character because it's very easy to hate him. But he did that performance with such humane element that we understand every side of his reasoning on why he did what he did, and it was a very beautiful contrast to against the character of Julie. And it, as much as Renata Reinsby is getting all the love, I feel like Anders Danielson Lai is also responsible on why The Worst Person in the World is such a beautiful love story / coming of age of a quarter life character. And yeah, it really resonated to me. I really fell in love with this character. And you're not supposed to fall in love with someone who is very, almost on the borderline of being a toxic character. But he really did it in such a human, relatable way. And I really appreciated everything that he did.
Those are some fantastic picks, mate. Well done. And we do see a lot of eye to eye here. So let me give you my 5 fantasy picks. So,
okay.
In my 5 for Best Supporting Actor, I've got Robin De Jesus for Tick Tick Boom, Daniel Durant for Coda, Jason Isaacs for Mass, Troy Kotsur for Coda, and Anders Danielson Lee for The Worst Person in the World. Yeah, so we kind of see eye to eye there. But yeah, I agree. The tag team double nom, Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz from The Favourite, or Sam Rockwell and Woody Harrelson from 3 Billboards. This year should be Troy Kotsur and Daniel Durant for Coda. They're such an amazing tag team in that. And yes, I'm all on board for the Troy Kotsur Express. I would love to see him win Best Supporting Actor. I think Cody Smith-McPhee and him, it's their race at the moment.
Yeah.
I love Troy Kotsur, and I love what you had to say about how he can be funny whilst being ASL, and that is a challenge in itself. And like you said, it's not really been seen before, and it's such, I don't know, it's a performance that brings so much joy to my face just thinking about it. It's just a wonderful, wonderful performance from Troy Kotsur. And yeah, if he does win, that would be absolutely wonderful. But yeah, everybody's kind of been sleeping on Daniel Durant for Coda because Troy Kotsur's just he's just a ball of sunshine in that movie. But Daniel Durant, he just had that really emotional scene all conveyed through sign language. It was just, you felt every word, even though there's no actual audio. It's just you felt every emotion come pouring out of him there. And it was just, yeah, I thought he was just absolutely magnificent in Coda. They're both fantastic, and Daniel Durant should be getting more acknowledgement, in my opinion. Robin De Jesus, I love him in Tick, Tick, Boom. The only problem is, like, he's, you know, a supporting character next to Andrew Garfield, who's, like, you know, giving the performance of his career. It's, like, so elasticated and lively, and just, you can't take your eyes off him. It's phenomenal. But Robin De Jesus really is the heart of Tick, Tick, Boom. He just brings so much emotion out of the story, a lovely counterpoint to Jonathan Larson, and, like, Robin De Jesus, I don't know, I just absolutely fell in love with him in Tick, Tick, Boom. Everything you said about Anders Danielsen Lee, he's just a lovely, complex character. He makes you laugh, he makes you cry. He's a flawed character as well. Like, there's so much humanity there to him, which is great, and he's a necessary counterpoint to Renata Reinspear's character. And yeah, he does a lot of the emotional heavy lifting in that movie as well. But yeah, The Worst Person in the World was actually my favorite movie of 2021, so that's why I'm, like, really...
You just gave away your number one pick.
Yeah, and yeah, I think I would probably agree with you. He would probably be my pick to be the Best Supporting Actor winner this year. All right, darling, shall we move on to Best Adapted Screenplay? How about I go first for this one, yeah?
You go first.
Okay,
yeah.
right. Mine are just, like, in alphabetical order. They're not ranked, but I'll tell you who I pick afterwards. So, my fantasy picks for Best Adapted Screenplay are Coda, Dune, Power of the Dog, Tick, Tick, Boom, and The Last Duel, with some honorable mentions for Tragedy of Macbeth, but I always feel like Shakespeare's done most of the heavy lifting with an adaptation there. Dune, because many people have tried to do Dune before, not really done it the proper justice that it deserves, but the way that Denis Villeneuve and Eric Space and Tim Roth made it accessible to newbies like me, like, I completely loved it. It didn't feel like it was talking down to me. It still felt smart and really easy to follow, and I think the real diehard Dune fans appreciate that. So yeah, the way it handles the exposition, the world building is just incredible. So yeah, I love Dune for that, and I think it should be acknowledged. Coda, the characters are just written so wonderfully. Like, every character in this is a real dimensional person. Like, everyone's got their own point of view, everyone sees things differently with what Ruby should do regarding her future, and you empathize with all of them. That's the amazing thing. Like, nobody's right or wrong here. Like, everybody has a valid opinion, and that's what's great about it, is that it's a very balanced type movie where every character is a real person, and they're not just there as set dressing. They're real people with their own opinions and personalities and feelings, and it's just very well done. So
exactly.
Yeah, Coda, mwah, just amazing script. The Power of the Dog I love, because even though I'm not a huge fan of the movie overall, I know people find it very weird, I'm not a massive Power of the Dog stan, but I appreciate so many elements of it, and the more time I've had from the Power of the Dog, the more I really love the screenplay, because it tackles a lot of really dark themes, there's a really weird mix of genres in it, and it's a difficult cocktail to get right. And the more time I've had from it, the more I realize how I appreciate it for Jane Campion for, I don't know, marrying so many different contradicting elements together, and she does it so subtly. It's not a movie where I think the dialogue leaps off the screen, but it's all about subtlety and what you don't see, and the pauses in between dialogue where the real stuff comes to life in the movie. And I really do appreciate that it's a script that works so subtextually, not just like, it doesn't spoon feed all the themes to the audience. Like, it lets you fill in the gaps.
Exactly.
Coupled with the amazing performances. Tick, Tick, Boom I love and would love to see acknowledged, because it's an adaptation of like a Broadway play, but it's tweaked enough that it's its own thing, because it's also like a biopic of Jonathan Larson as well, so it's kind of operating on two different levels. And I like when a stage adaptation isn't just a copy and paste of a play. Sometimes I'll watch a musical which was a play or a musical before, and I feel like I'm watching a play, but when I watch Tick, Tick, Boom, it's like it's its own thing. It feels like a movie to me. It actually feels like a real melding of mediums between theatre and movies. So I really like that about it. And The Last Duel, I love. It's not getting enough love, The Last Duel, for its script. But yeah, I really love what they did this year. It's very Rashomon in its structure, like the 3 different perspectives. It can get a little bit repetitive in places, but I think overall it does enough to really make an impact. So yeah, that's my justification for The Last Duel. Yeah. How about yours, mate? Who are your... who would I pick to win? Actually, no, I'll tell you later. You go first. I want to hear your...
Alright, we only have 2 similar choices, but with your reasoning behind those 2 choices, I completely agree with.
Yep.
Number 5, I have Drive My Car. In general, I feel like, just like you in Power of the Dog, I'm not the biggest fan of Drive My Car as a whole. The pacing and the length of the film just didn't work for me. It's not for me. But the screenplay alone, it's like a writer's dream. It's almost like poetry. And when I think about the screenplay of Drive My Car, it's almost like, how did the writer write this? It's almost unfathomable to think how they constructed that screenplay, but it was just beautifully written. If any, the screenplay of Drive My Car it's masterful. Number 4 is Passing. I really appreciated Passing. I feel like it's also a very important piece of Black history that I really didn't know about. I had no idea what Passing is. I had no idea what that concept is. All I know in the Black history, in film history, is the one that they portrayed either in 12 Years a Slave or The Help, but everything in between is a blur for me. And I feel like Passing filled in that gray area in what happened during those times. I had no idea those characters existed, and I feel like Rebecca Hall did a phenomenal job in writing those characters. And like I said earlier, Ruth Negga's character was full of meat that you just want to chew on. You really want to know her, and I feel like it was just very well written. Number 3, I have The Lost Daughter. It's almost like an impossible film to like on text. It's filled with very unlikable characters, but Maggie Gyllenhaal wrote the screenplay without the intention of making them likable. I feel like she really allowed the characters to breathe their own truth, to be flawed, and in that regard, I appreciated them being as real as they could be. And I really love that it didn't try to satisfy a particular type of audience. I mean, it just made the characters as real as they could be. And I think we rarely see that side of mothers having that kind of dark underbelly. And I don't think Maggie Gyllenhaal is interested in making these characters conform to what the society is wanting them to be. Number 2 is Coda. Everything you said, pretty much. These are real characters. Plus, it doesn't always have to be serious films. I mean, Coda is a feel-good family film, and it doesn't pretend to be anything else other than what it is. A lot of people, actually, unfortunately, I've been seeing a lot of hate on Coda recently, which is baffling because people are saying, oh, it's just a fluffy film that's feel good, it's quite overrated. I don't think all films in the Oscars should be one note. It doesn't have to be dark or serious or edgy. I feel like it's almost refreshing to see a film like Coda be on the Oscar stage again. It's quite a long time for a feel-good film to be recognized this much, so I'm really happy for Coda. And number 1, I have The Power of the Dog. Like what you said, it's all about the subtext. The best things about the film is what happens in between, not what the characters are trying to say. It's about what they're not saying, and I think that's a huge part in the screenplay in building that kind of momentum. It's the silence, it's the subtext, and it does get better with every rewatch. When I first watched The Power of the Dog, I was like, oh, okay, it's good. But when I watch it over and over again, I'm just in love with everything that Jane Campion built. Like, it's really one of the best films of the year.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Well put. I like what you had to say about The Lost Daughter as well, mate. It's a film that's unafraid to take some risks, and to say it was like Maggie Gyllenhaal's first ever, adaptation of a screenplay, it's insane. Like how she went for something so challenging. On a first go, a lot of people would go for something simpler and easier, but yeah, the fact that it's dealing with a quite prickly protagonist who labels herself as an unnatural mother, it's like okay, this is this is a bold first movie to make.
Wait, so who's your win? Who's your win for adapted?
I'm going to go with... No, I'm going to go with The Power of the Dog. Like, it's just,
Okay.
it's... I mean, I know it's probably going to win Best Adapted Screenplay anyways, but yeah, I just like what you said about it. And yeah, we both sort of see how it's a lot smarter. I mean, it's a smart movie anyways, but there's just so much more than what's on the surface with The Power of the Dog. And it's a very layered screenplay and just very well executed when it's brought to the screen as well. So
Yep.
I'm going to go with The Power of the Dog. All right, mate. So shall we go on to Best Original Screenplay?
All right.
Hit me with your 5, yes.
Okay. Number 5. I have the Red Rocket. I have Red Rocket. I was actually very surprised that I loved this film because I wasn't such a big fan of Florida Project, but I just love how Sean Baker combined neo-realism and a little bit of whimsical elements to it. I mean, bye NSYNC, plus the depicting the lower class families in this region of the United States, plus Simon Rex. Just everything about the construction of this film is just very, very well done. Number 4, I have Spencer, Pablo Larraín. It's probably one of the most innovative screenplays of the year when it comes to the idea that it is a biopic. I love how Kristen Stewart described this as a film that imagines a feeling. Like, it's not info driven, but it is emotional driven. And because it is true that we pretty much know everything about Diana already that there is to know in a public spectrum. So Spencer allowed us to know her on an emotional level that is very rare in the films that portray Diana. Number 3, I have A Hero. I just watched this the other day and I really, really loved it. Asghar Farhadi really created a world that depicts the struggles, the human conditions of the lower class in Iran, but at the same time, it's not indulgent to the idea of poverty porn. It's very real, and the character of Rahim, which I will talk about later in lead actor, but it was a very complex character, and it's both a hero and an anti-hero. It's very just multidimensional.
Yeah.
Number 2, probably my earliest favorite of 2021. It is Shiva Baby. I really, really love Shiva Baby. It actually reminded me of Mother. The anxiety that film brought is just wow. Okay, how could you be so anxious in just like a small gathering? Like how the characters reacted to each other, how that screenplay was built was just phenomenal. And obviously, number 1 is The Worst Person in the World.
Of course.
Like,
yeah.
it is the best original screenplay of the year. I really loved everything about that movie. I loved how it was written in a third-person perspective, and the title itself is from a third-person perspective, and it almost wants the audience to be the villain of the story, because I feel like the movie is expecting for the audience to really hate this character, because it really bombards it with her flaws, with her mistakes, but with these performances you just can't help but relate to them, feel sorry for them, and these aren't the worst people in the world. Like, these are just complex human characters that I feel like everyone can relate to one way or another. So yeah, I just really love the construction, the episodic structure of the film. It's just like brilliant. It's brilliant.
You just stole like all my bullet points that I wanted to say for The Worst Person in the World. Because yeah, she's in my 5 as well, mate. So yeah, your pick would be Joaquin Trier for The Worst Person in the World, yes?
Yes.
Cool. All right, well let me give you my 5. We actually have a lot of overlap here. And I'm not convinced any of my 5 are actually going to show up at the Oscars, but I can live in hope. So my 5 are Mass, Red Rocket, Spencer, Titan, and Worst Person in the World. The Worst Person in the World would probably be my pick to win it as well, because I just love how it manages to encapsulate a collective feeling of a generation, because I feel like we probably are the target demographic, the millennials, who, you know, we've grown up in a certain time and we're told we can do what we want. We've got all this choice, and like sometimes we have too much choice and we don't know if we're making the right choices. Am I with the right partner? Have I picked the right career path? You know, these are all such relatable struggles, and I found Renate Reinsve to be such a relatable character. Like, I just empathize with her so much, and like you said, she's not the worst person in the world, but it's easy to get into that sort of mentality about your own self. I really did connect with the character of Renate Reinsve, and I like that it's a rom-com, but it's not a typical rom-com. It's, you know, like you said, it plays with structure, it's episodic, it takes some risks with the set pieces that it does, and I love that about it. It's a film which takes risks, but it's relatable. And yeah, it spoke to me on a fundamental level, the worst person in the world. I might be a bit biased because it's kind of aimed at our generation, but yeah, I wholeheartedly agree that it would probably be my pick to win. Best original screenplay. Red Rocket as well. I echo everything that you said about that. Yeah, it's just a really well written script, and even though it's a comedy, you know, it has something to say about what life is like on the margins, which is very much what, you know, Sean Baker is all about, and I love that. Mass, because it's one of the most urgent and timely movies there is. It handles all of its sensitive topics really beautifully. It's not preaching an agenda or anything whilst you're watching it. It's just an honest and raw look at a harsh reality which does affect some people in the United States, and I just think it's something that's not being talked about enough, and the way it handles it is just, it's marvelous. It's absolutely fantastic, and yeah, the screenplay really touched me. Spencer, again, you pretty much hit everything that I wanted to say about Spencer. And Titan is a rare gem in that it's one of those movies where every time I watch it, I get something different from it. It's a film that can be dissected in like 50 different ways, and when everyone watches it, everyone kind of has a different response to it. Like some people, I mean, everyone sort of reacts to the madness of it and how bonkers it is in places, but there's so much emotionality in the story, and it connects with people in different ways, this film. Like, some people relate to it about sexual identity and their parental relationships and what have you, and some horror fans just love it for the thrill ride that it is. And I love when a film can be just so layered like that. It's just a film which it operates on so many different levels, and yeah, I haven't watched a film like it since Mother, where like every time I watch it, I sort of get something new from it, and that's why it gets into my top 5. Do I think it will show up at the Oscars? No, but yeah, I wanted to include it in my 5, so yeah.
I agree with everything you said. I just want to say that Mass is my number 6. I didn't snub it. Yeah, Mass is my number 6. And how about it's a first-time writer-director? Like, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, like Maggie Gyllenhaal, it's just a phenomenal debut from Frank Kranz. If he did show up at the Oscars, yeah, oh my god, I would lose my shit. I think there's a chance, but I think it's such a. It's a long shot. I can't see it happening. I don't think it's gonna happen, but if it does happen, I will probably scream in delight. Yeah, because yeah, that's a true fantasy pick, which I really want to see happen. All right, pal. Great picks. Both agree worst person in the world would make a great winner. Let's move on to best actor. Shall I give you my 5 first?
Go for it. Yeah.
Cool. So what's interesting about my 5 is actually I've kind of overlapped a lot with the people that we're kind of expecting to see in the category. I actually think best actor is shaping up to really be the one where I agree with the most for the acting categories. So my 5 are Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth, and the 5th spot, the elusive 5th spot, who we don't know who it's going to go to, but I would love to see Simon Rex for Red Rocket. Those are my 5. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
For a
Simon
second,
Rex.
I got nervous because I thought you would say Javier Bardem.
No, God, no.
Okay.
So,
Simon Rex.
no disrespect. Okay. Yeah, I love Javier Bardem.
No
but
shade, yeah.
But yeah, Simon Rex would be my pick of those 5. If he got the nomination, I would be elated. Not expecting it to happen, but yeah, for me, Simon Rex's performance in Red Rocket was the performance of 2021. It's the one which I was like most engrossed by watching. I was just like, oh wow, this is the role that someone was born to play, and you just know when you're watching it, this is like, okay, this is why they were put on this planet to perform this role. And like, there's no other actor on the planet, I think, that could do what he does in this movie, because obviously he had a background in pornography before he did the role, so he actually has some real life experience that he brings to it, and he's just, I know, I found him so utterly captivating in Red Rocket, and it's a performance that's so funny. We don't get enough comedic performances being acknowledged, but you know, he manages to make this really slimy, skeezy character almost rootable. Like, you're kind of rooting for him, but at the same time, you know you shouldn't be, because like he makes so many bad choices and stuff. But there's something about how he portrays him where like I'm just kind of rooting for him, even though I know I shouldn't be. And that is a skill. That is an absolute skill to make you kind of like and empathize with like altogether awful human being. So yeah, that is my pick for best actor, mate. Let's hear your 5.
Okay, I have number 5, Nicolas Cage for Pig.
Great pick.
For me, this is the definition of subtlety at its finest. It was a very subtle performance, but at the same time, I think it's one of Nicolas Cage's best performance in years. It's just a shame that it was released way too early. That's why it lost its buzz. But yeah, I love Cage in Pig. Number 4, I have Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom. There were a lot of things that I was craving for more in this particular performance, but what he gave was just dynamic. I mean, it's very refreshing to see Andrew Garfield singing, dancing, making fun of himself, but at the same time nailing.
Who knew he could sing? Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, we've only seen him in The Social Network, Silence, Spider-Man, Hacksaw Ridge, like these really serious roles, but then he is so animated, and yeah, it's one of his best performances for sure. Number 3, I agree with everything you said about Simon Rex. It is my number 3. You did tweet about it that it is the perfect casting. Like, I definitely agree. Can't imagine anybody else play this role. And I echo with what you said. It's a horrible person on text, but he made it so likable. And yeah, it's a skill. Like, you can't. It's very rarely a character or an actor can make a very horrible person be likable on screen, and that is a skill for sure. Number 2, Amir Hadidi for A Hero. It's very sad. It's very heartbreaking almost that this film isn't campaigned much, because it's a very nuanced, complex, layered performance that he gave. It's one of the best leading performances of the year for me. I could talk about this all day, but it really is one of the best. And number 1, it is my personal win too, and also my predicted win at the Oscars. It is Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog. I just loved everything what he did in the movie, and I feel like it's that kind of performance is a collaboration of from the actor and the director. Like, both Jane Campion and Benedict Cumberbatch are they are the reasons why that performance really resonated and became what it is. It was very dynamic. It has a lot of subtext too. There are a lot of actions that his character gave that you wouldn't necessarily notice at first viewing, but when you watch it over and over again, you'd be like, wow, Benedict Cumberbatch did that. I didn't even notice at first viewing. So I really loved everything that he did. So yeah, here's my personal win.
Yeah, that's a great pick. And you know, if Cumberbatch does win the best actor, it will be completely justified. Like, it is just such an insanely good performance. So
Agreed.
I'd be absolutely happy with Benedict winning. I'd be happy with Will Smith winning. If Simon Rex showed up, that would be on the fucking moon. Yeah, I'd be that excited. Yeah, but not over the moon. I'd be on the flipping moon. So yeah, that was an interesting talk, but I'm glad to see we see eye to eye. I haven't actually seen A Hero, so it's on my list now to give it a go.
You're gonna love it, I'm sure.
Go. All right, mate. Shall we move on to the juiciest of the acting categories? Yes. Best actress. Yes. I'm sure we have a lot to say about this one. But yes, hit me with your best actress fantasy picks.
Okay, so I actually did 10 because I can't narrow it down, but I'm just gonna go over 6 to 10. Like I'm just gonna just honorable mentions.
It's hard, this one.
Agathe Roussel, Titan, Rachel Senoch, Shiva Baby, Penelope Cruz, Parallel Mothers. Martha Plimpton, I have her in lead because I want to give way for Ann Dowd in supporting, and Rachel Zegler in West Side Story. Rachel Zegler in West Side Story is like the epitome of A Star Is Born. Like
Yes,
she is
very much.
insane. Like she is like a movie star in that movie. Okay, so for my personal 5, number 5. This is like so far away from what the Oscars are predicting, but yeah, number 5 I have Isabel Furman for The Novice. It was
of course
a knockout performance. It reminded me of very Natalie Portman Black Swan / Miles Teller Whiplash. I really loved what she did. It was a very committed, brave, physically demanding performance too. Like, I really appreciate it when actors put a lot of effort in preparing for a role, and she clearly did. Number 4, Emilia Jones, Coda. Talk about actors putting in the work to prepare for a role. Emilia Jones did. She signed up for singing lessons, fishing, boating, ASL while doing an American accent, being British, and it's mind blowing that she hasn't sang before this movie. So like, what else could you ask for in a lead performance? Like the fact that she isn't even in the conversation to be nominated. Like it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
And if there's any lead actress performance that is not from a biopic that should get in, I feel like it has to be Emilia Jones. Like, I really loved her. Number 3, I have Olivia Colman, The Lost Daughter. It is one of the most complex, nuanced, layered performances of the year. Olivia Colman can do no wrong, and yeah, and I really appreciated the fact that she didn't try to make it likable, like what I said earlier about how Gyllenhaal wrote the screenplay of this film. Olivia Colman just lived and breathed the truth of the character. She didn't try to, I should make this likable so that the audience would love my performance. She didn't take that route. She was very honest and very truthful, and there's a lot of complexities going on in her character. Number 2, Renata Rainsby. For obvious reasons we've been talking about over and over again earlier, it is one of the best leading performances of the year. Like, people love it. Like, literally everyone loves it, and there's nothing else to say. Like, she was the best. And number 1, who could it be?
I wonder
Obviously it is Kristen Stewart for Spencer. I could talk about this all day, every day, about what she did in Spencer. It's not even about how close she got to Diana, but it's about what she gave. It was a very psychological, internalized performance, but at the same time, you know that it is Diana. And I actually want to know your thoughts about this, being a British person. What are your thoughts about her accent?
Oh, I loved it. Like, there was never any point where I was just like, I'm not watching Diana. Like, she transformed. I don't see Kristen Stewart in here. Like, she's gone. Like, she's just fully transformed into her. Like, and that's the bizarre thing about her award season journey. Is just like, everybody can see this, and yet she's not being acknowledged where she deserves to be. The critics are acknowledging it, but the awards bodies
are not.
Yeah, the guilds not so much, which is, it's the most, I think it's going to be one of those things that, I don't think she's going to win Best Actress anymore, but it'll be one of those things where we'll look back and she'll be more remembered for the fact that she didn't win because of how egregious the snubbery is. Like, it's just like, this is a real career-defining performance from Kristen Stewart, and it really is just the most bizarre situation of how it's not being celebrated or championed more. Like, I absolutely agree with everything you said. She would probably be my pick to win Best Actress. I mean, she has been, like, ever since I saw Spencer at Venice, I was like, that's a Best Actress winning performance right there. That's like when I saw Natalie Portman in Black Swan. I was like, okay, that is going to win. That's a performance that gets you talking. It's a performance that stays with you. Yeah, it's just haunting, and it's a little unconventional as well, because the structure that Paola Loren takes with interpreting Diana. It's just really strange that Kristen Stewart has sort of dropped out of the race.
And it's not even like Spencer is such a hard film to watch. Like, it's almost very, like, straightforward in a way. Like, it's not I don't know. I don't understand it. Like, the only reason like she's not nominated is because people are probably not watching it. And like, you could not watch Spencer and not be like, that is the best actress. Like, there's just no way.
Exactly. Yeah, even if you don't like the movie Spencer, you can at least see the quality of the performance from Kristen Stewart. Like, it's impossible to ignore. Anyway, shall I give you my 5 as well? Sorry, but I know I want to vent my frustrations more about about this robbery. But yeah, okay. Let me give you my 5 for Best Actress. So in mine, I have Jodie Comer for they said The Lost Daughter, the Last Duel. So I wrote TLD, and it's the same initials as The Lost Daughter. So Jodie Comer, The Last Duel. Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Taylor Paige for Zola. Renata Reinsve for The Worst Person in the World. And Kristen Stewart for Spencer. Yeah. Jodie Comer. Yeah, I'm so basic. Like, I fell in love with Jodie Comer this last year after watching Free Guy and The Last Duel, and yeah, I'm now like 100% Jodie Comer stan. I understand where this massive appreciation comes for her. She is just so utterly captivating to watch in anything that she does, and she's so versatile as well. Like, she can do funny, she can do every accent in the book, she can do. Yeah, she's so unbelievably, unfairly flipping talented. Like, it's just like, God, she really is like, I don't know, she's like probably gonna be like a national treasure for the Brits in like 5-10 years time. Her being so good in The Last Duel made me start watching Killing Eve, and I'm like, okay, yeah, she really is the shit. Okay, so, and yeah, she was the best part of The Last Duel. Kristen Stewart, already covered, just, yeah, should be winning, don't know what's going on there. Jessica Chastain, one of the best performances of the year in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I don't think the movie's amazing, but it takes an actress of immense skill and talent to play an over-the-top, larger-than-life character like Tammy Faye Baker and not turn her into a cartoon or a caricature of her. She really found the depth, the humanity, the pathos, she nuanced it all so beautifully into performance. And yeah, lesser actors could not have done what Jessica Chastain does in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. And yeah, if in my eyes, if Kristen Stewart can't win, I would love to see either Jessica Chastain win, because she's so overdue, or Renata Reinsve for The Worst Person in the World, who I'll get
100%,
Yeah.
I agree. Like, Renata Reinsve is like outside of the actress conversation, so if like the possibilities were just entertaining, I hope it's Chastain.
Yeah, it's really balls to the walls, fully committed, amazing, transformative performance. Like, it's a box checker performance, so much more. It's a box checker performance in the same way that Nicole Kidman's is a box checker for being the Ricardos, but I don't know, I just found Jessica Chastain's so much more invigorating and more. I just found it so much more exciting to watch. I don't know, don't get me wrong, I love Nicole Kidman, and I thought she was great in being the Ricardos. I don't think it's the role we should be championing her to get her second Oscar for. She's totally deserving of one. But yeah, I don't know if being the Ricardos is the right role for her to win for. But Jessica Chastain, yeah, it's a box checker performance. But yeah, it's also just an acknowledgement of everything that she's done before and just her skill as an actress. Oh, yeah, she would be who I would rather see win. There's a rant over. And Taylor Paige, again, loved everything that she did in Zola. Together they make such a great pair, her and Riley Keough. Like, it's such a wonderful, dynamic pairing. And yeah, Renata Reinsve, just, yeah, I like I said, I just empathize with the characters so much. Out of all the characters that I've watched in 2021, apart from maybe Katie from The Mitchells vs. the Machines, Julie from The Worst Person in the World is the one which I saw myself in the most. And I was like, okay, this is like a character who I really fundamentally see myself in. Like, this is me in female form. This is a story that it could be my movie. Same. But again, it's a performance that marries comedy and drama together so beautifully. It's a perfect balancing act from Renata Reinsve. She's playing a very real human person who I saw myself in. If Kristen Stewart can win it, I would love to see a performance like that win. So yeah, that's my reasoning for her. But yeah, sorry, felt like I was getting a lot off my chest.
So
there,
much
not
passion.
Yeah, I know. God, this category, it's a weird one this year, and people have a lot of opinions on it. All right, my mate, shall we move on to Best Director?
Okay, so I'm just gonna do a rundown because I feel like I've talked about this like in the earlier segments. Number 5 is Joachim Trier, The Worst Person in the World. For me, is very underrated. A lot of international feature directors that get recognition mostly are Ryusuke Hamaguchi, Paolo Sorrentino, and I don't think Joachim Trier is really getting the credit that is due because I feel like he probably gave a lot of very memorable sequences in the Worst Person in the World. Plus, those dynamics of those characters would be very tricky if handled by the wrong director. So I really appreciate what he did. Number 4, it's Jonas Boher Rasmussen for Flea. I love Flea. Flea for me is the epitome of cinema in 2021, which is weird because it is an animated feature, and I rarely say that in animated films in general, but what he achieved in Flea is it's a masterpiece. Number 3, I have Pablo Larraín for Spencer. When it comes to biopics, I don't think you can top in terms of creativity, in terms of innovation, what he did. It was like poetry on film. Like, it really was very well made, from the colors to the mise-en-scène to the cinematography. Like, he was the captain of that entire ship, and I really appreciated what he did. Number 2, I actually have Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. I thought this version of West Side Story is 10 times better in every single way compared to the original. I'm not the biggest fan of the original at all. I actually think it's one of the most overrated classics, I feel like, in cinematic canon, the original West Side Story. But what he did really is a master class on its own. And it's very daunting to take on a task that already has a huge following, huge fan base, and huge respect in the entire film industry, and he did that and even made it better, which is like, how did he do that? How did he do that? So I really love what he did. Number 1, obviously Jane Campion, The Power of the Dog. It is like the best directed film of the year. That's it. It is the best directed film of the year.
Need I say more, people? Yeah, I totally...
Did I see more?
So my 5 for Best Director are Denis Villeneuve for Dune, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, Julia Ducournau for Titan, Steven Spielberg for West Side Story, and Pablo Larraín for Spencer. Yeah, I have Joachim Trier as an honorable mention because, yeah, I agree with everything you said. It's just such a tough category to pick this year. Like, I mean, it should be like Best Picture. We should have 10 slots really for this one. It's just, there's so many good directors out there that deserve to be acknowledged. Denis Villeneuve for Dune. It's just so obvious why he should be in here because, like, the size, the scale of it, just, you know, it's huge, big screen spectacle, but made by an artist. You know, this is someone who really cares about the craft of cinema. So yeah, like, it's big popcorn escapism, but done with integrity, and I just absolutely love everything that Denis Villeneuve did in Dune. Yeah, Pablo Larraín as well, the most unsung director of 2021, if you ask me. Just like, he should be in the conversation more. What he did with Spencer, it was just so arresting and beautiful and nightmarish and just completely intoxicating to watch. Like you said, master of the ship, all the elements come together. He had a vision, got the right team of people to bring it to the screen, and yeah, I think he just does a masterful job of Spencer. Jane Campion, duh, yeah. Steven Spielberg, also duh. Again, it's the fact that Spielberg hasn't really had much experience in the genre of musicals. And the first time he attempts it, he has the gumption to go with, yeah, like a beloved Best Picture winning musical from the past, which has a very loyal, dedicated fan base. And somehow, on his first ever go, he absolutely smashes out of the park and manages to improve on it in pretty much every single way. He's just the master of the craft, and yeah, absolutely deserves to be nominated. I'm actually surprised it's not more of a two-way race between Spielberg and Campion this year, but don't get me wrong, Campion absolutely deserves to be winning, and I just think Spielberg also deserves more acknowledgement. And yeah, I put Julia Ducournau in mine because because I just really admire what Julia Ducournau is doing. Like, she's really found her niche in the world of cinema. I love that she's bold and weird and surprising. Like, she plays with our understandings and expectations and the conventions of how a story can be told. And she just does it so well. I love what she's bringing, her voice, her ideas to the table. And yeah, Titan, it's divisive, but I can't not love the direction in that film. Like, she hasn't even made that many movies, but like, you can see it like in the end product, just like, this is someone to watch out for. This is someone doing something very different, but they've got a very unique point of view and a voice. In terms of ambition, it's one of the more out there picks for direction this year, but I think it absolutely deserves to be, well, she deserves to be acknowledged for Best Director. So yeah, who would I pick to win though? Yeah, I think it's between Jane Campion and Steven Spielberg. I absolutely love both of them. I would be happy with either of them. But yeah, I would say in terms of how thematically dark and rich and complex, Power of the Dog was, I think I would probably give it to Jane Campion. So yeah.
I mean, easy.
Yes, I think so, yes. And I'll be very happy if and when she wins the actual Oscar come March. So yeah. All right, we're here, mate. We're at the big one, the last one. All right, so Best Picture. All right, give me your 10 Best Picture picks.
All right, this is a rundown from number 10 to 1. Number 10, I have Red Rocket. Number 9, West Side Story. Number 8, Spencer. 7 is Mass. Number 6 is A Hero. 5, Shiva Baby. I just love Shiva Baby. That's my number 5. Number 4, The Worst Person in the World. Number 3, Flea. Number 2 is Coda. And number 1, it's just like my absolute favorite film of 2021. It is The Power of the Dog. And very rarely the Oscars and I usually align in Best Picture. So I really like what's happening this year, because I do agree what's the front runner for Best Picture is. So I'm really happy that The Power of the Dog could potentially win this.
Amazing picks. Yeah, I think for Best Picture, this is essentially our top 10 movies of the year, really. We're just listing our favourite films.
Pretty much.
Very eclectic mix as well. I think you've got some absolute zingers in there. And I think we've got maybe 5 out of 5 matching ones here. So, but anyways, here's my 10 picks for Best Picture. Coda, Dune, The Tragedy of Macbeth, Red Rocket, Mass, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, Spencer, Tick Tick Boom, West Side Story, and The Worst Person in the World. Yeah, I love all those movies.
I love Mitchells versus the Machines, by the way. Like, masterpiece.
Amazing
I love
movie.
it.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, like I almost put it in my best original screenplay picks as well. Like, it's so flipping good. It just gets better on rewatch, and it's just a film that appeals to all age demographics. It's pretty much satire about family dynamics and our dependency on technology. It's
generation gap, everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it brings different generations together. That's the beauty of it. Such a wonderful film. But yeah, both got West Side Story, Worst Person in the World, Red Rocket, Spencer. Yeah, see eye to eye on a lot of these mates, yeah. I knew there was a reason that I liked you. You have impeccable taste. Yeah. It's my top 10 movies of 2021 list, except I didn't have Spider-Man No Way Home in here. But yeah, that could also be an honorable mention. All right, there we go, mate. I think we've done it. We've been through the 8 big categories, our fantasy picks. Some absolute corkers in there. Loved hearing your thoughts, mate. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dennis. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, again, please do help support Playbook and Dennis's channel. Links in the video description. Follow him on Twitter, Insta. All his links are down there. He's absolutely wonderful. Give him some love. It's been an absolute joy having you on here, mate. Thank you.
You're welcome. Pleasure is mine, 100%.
Do let us know in the comment section down below your fantasy picks for the 2022 Oscars. We want to hear from you guys. Help the video out by hitting that thumbs up button. And yes, for more of my content, don't forget to click subscribe. And for more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Keough, and I'll see you next time.